everyone. Thank you so much for joining Activity Planning with Raise Kids. We'll discuss a little bit about our activities, curriculums, and some examples. We know that caring for multiple children, each with different ages, needs, and interests, is no small task and can be pretty overwhelming. But you're not alone, and we are here to help. Let's begin with what's included in your app. You're going to have access to a library of more than 500 activities. They're going to all be simple setups, quick directions, and resourceful materials. You're also going to get helpful prompt, open-ended questions, and evidence of skill development. Let's talk about how the Raise Kids curriculum is different from the other ones. We have an activity-first approach where learning happens naturally, unlike traditional curriculums that start with the learning objective and fit an activity to match it. Raise Kids starts with the activity itself and recognizing that the rich, natural learning that takes place during play. Let's talk about how the Raise Kids curriculum is different. We have an activity-first approach where learning happens naturally, unlike traditional curriculums that start with a learning objective and fit an activity to match it. Raise Kids starts with the activity itself and recognizes the rich, natural learning that happens during play. It's flexible for mixed age groups because the activities adapt easily to different environments. Okay, let's talk about how the Raise Kids curriculum is different. We have an activity-first approach where learning happens naturally. Unlike traditional curriculums that start with the learning objective and fit an activity to match it, Raise Kids starts with the activity itself, recognizing the rich, natural learning that takes place during play. It's flexible for mixed age groups because the activities adapt easily to different developmental levels. It's child-led and engaging, which feels natural, not forced, and allows kids to explore at their own pace. It's also empowering for providers because every activity has value and it makes providers feel confident in the learning that they're facilitating. With Raise Kids, you don't have to force learning because it happens through play and naturally. We recommend areas to consider, like the interest areas of the kids where we can filter them by theme, range of ways that children can express themselves so you can filter them by category, or developmental focus, which we can filter by domain. To do that, we're going to press activities on the bottom left corner of our screen. Then we're going to press this funnel on the top right corner of our screen. And this is going to pop up where we can filter by category. You can filter by theme, which we have various themes where you can choose from, or by domain. Let's see this example of the insect hotel. In every activity, you're going to get a description of the activity, the directions, a tip about the activity, and the materials that you need to do the activity. You can also favorite an activity to have it separated from the other activities and easier to find. You'll also get pictures throughout the activity so you can have an idea or the kids can have an idea of what the activity will look like once it's completed. We also love that our materials are so easy to find. Most of the times, they're going to be in your house, backyard, or at a very low cost. We pride ourselves in being a great source of activity for in-home childcare providers. In every activity, you will also be able to identify 3 skills that the child is developing through play. You're also going to get tips or open-ended questions to be able to make a more in-depth learning throughout the activity. When might you do an activity like the insect hotel? The Raise Kids activities fit perfectly into the group activity time blocks, and they are designed to be repurposed so you can utilize them throughout the week in different settings. Many of the activities also work well as centers, where you might have small groups working on one of the activities during the group activity time blocks. This is an example of how some providers have told us that they split their days in their programs. They can start with an arrival, then independent play, morning circle. Now we have a little space for the group activity, like the insect hotel. Then we have our morning snack, outdoor play, song and dance, story time, lunch, nap quiet, song and game, group activity, another activity that you can incorporate there, afternoon snack, outdoor play, and pickup. Race Kids is your book for joyful learning. The app and curriculum books utilized by home-based childcare providers to create joyful, enriching environments and manage their business with ease. Make the day flow smoothly with activities designed for your environment that are both learning and fun. Save money by utilizing resourceful materials that are in your home or can be easily accessed. Save time by researching activities with the trusted resource made for you. Our curriculum also has a set of 4 books that can be purchased. They are separated by volumes like Bonding and Growing, Systems, Nature, and Our Guide. It's a great option to allow the children to browse through it and pick the activities themselves. This is a good overview of what the curriculum itself looks like, where you can find the skills that the child is developing, the materials, the information about the activity, and pictures as well. This little QR code, you can scan it and it's going to take you directly to the activity on your app. These are the Race Kids domains of development. We have physical, cognitive, language, social emotional, math, and literacy. You can see them throughout our activities, like we've mentioned before. In each activity, you'll find at least 3 of them that the child is learning throughout the activity. Now that we looked closely at what the activities are like and how we might implement them individually, let's look at how to incorporate these activities into your regular programming. In your Race Kits curriculum materials, you will find different implementation resources to help you, like the sample weeks, which are examples of weekly plans that we have created using a week worth of activities centered on a topic or idea that builds on itself for the course of the week. You're also going to find our state standard alignment documents, which are tables showing how the Race Kits activities meet the learning and developmental goals of your state. So now you know that the activities are supporting your child's development, and you can select activities based on certain developmental goals you need to assess. Now, how can we plan a week? Let's have a look on how you might use the Race Kits activities throughout your typical week, like the weekly plan example. Keeping the idea of using the Race Kits activities at the basis of your day's plan. You might use 3 or more activities on a week that reuse materials and build on concepts and skills in the activities. Here's an example of how a possible week can look like. You'll notice that all of these activities are unified around the topic of bugs. 3 core ideas have also been identified for how these activities can relate to each other and support important conceptual knowledge. You can see that 5 different activities have been selected for the week, and each of one of them contributes to a developmental of children's skills in different domains. One of them can be pretend play, one of them can be sensory, STEM, movement, and art. You can also note the materials you would need for the week of activities and decide on any supplemental materials you might want to use, such as reading out loud books, songs, or food that are correspondent to the topic. For example, the Bug Book by Kathy King can be a great way to introduce this week's topic to the children. You can also check what space might be best for the activity. For example, if an activity says go outside, but you don't have a regular outdoor access, you can consider planning ahead of time to bring some natural materials inside. At Race Kids, we really value accessible and low cost materials in our activities. So we invite you to think about ways you can schedule your weekly activities to reuse materials all week. For example, you can have a space with plastic insect and Play-Doh set up all week to invite the children to make bug tracks, mold bug bodies, or bury bugs and dig them out so they can build their knowledge and skills about bugs. An important note about adapting these activities is that you might decide that these are too many activities for your children, or maybe you need to differentiate the activities for different ages, needs, or abilities. In that case, you might break the activities down into steps and carry out those steps throughout the week. For example, the first day you might make the insect slime with one small group of children while the other group is playing, and then the following day, make the small group do the slime and the other one can play. That way, you can provide a more individualized support. And this way, you can also actually use just a few activities to last you the whole week. And you allow the children to engage on their own time and their diverse ways. And you can also reduce how much preparation you need to do for each day. You also maintain the schedule and plan that works for you and for your program. Adding the Race Kids curriculum isn't something on top of all the work you already do, but it's a supportive resource for you to plan high quality and engaging open ended activities. We also mentioned that there are resources to help you align your activities with your state standards. As you choose to implement Raise Kids in your program, we know that you also want to make sure that you're meeting learning standards for your children. And we know that families also ask about that. Race Kids activities all address the core developmental domains commonly outlined in state and national learning objectives, like cognitive, social emotional, language and literacy, and physical development. You'll find suggestions for how each activity meets learning objectives in the curriculum materials. The activities can meet so many more goals than what's listed, and you can be creative about how you might integrate counting, letters and their sounds, and other foundational skills into the activities. For example, Raise Kids aligns with the California Desired Results Development Profile, also known as GRDP. Here's one example of the learning standard that it meets. Just like we mentioned in the past slide, we know that families are going to be asking about what their child has been learning throughout the program and what skills they've developed. So you can also document observations directly in the app. You can record and observe skills in real time from today's events. You can choose pre-populated domain and skills and see all the observations on the child's profile. How do we add an observation? In our home screen, we're going to press where it says add new or add event. Either one of these is going to take us to a page that looks just like this. And then we're going to select observation. Once we select that, we're just going to populate all the information that is asked underneath, and then we're going to be able to find it either on our child's profile under today's events, or if we press on See Profile and filter by observation, we're going to be able to see all the observations that the child has had during our program. We really appreciate you taking the time to see this session of today, and we hope that it was a little bit helpful on the activities of the app. We also have our Help Center where you can find more videos like this one at help.raisekids.com, and we also have one-on-one support. You can communicate with us via email, support@raisekids.com, or on our phone number right here. You can send us a text or a phone call with any other questions or help you need. We hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for joining us.